If I could say one thing about Charles County Public Library, what would it be? Oh gosh, one thing is so hard.
I cannot imagine a community without a library. A library is the heart of a community.
One thing we hear a lot in the library field is, why do we still need libraries? Why is it still, everyone has a phone, everyone can Google their questions. What do we need libraries for? But they're missing the point that the libraries are central to the health and growth of a community.
For a very long time, libraries have been everything to me. I recall growing up, it was more than a safe space for me. It really was a space for me to grow and explore and imagine all of the things that I never thought I could be were offered right there in the library.
The Charles County Public Library was established in 1922 thanks to the support of the Homemakers Club of Charles County, and especially through the support, leadership, and guidance of Paul Dennis P.D. Brown, who later became the namesake for our P.D. Brown branch and was a lifelong supporter and champion for the library. So the beginnings of the library was that it was housed in one room of the abandoned jailhouse in La Plata. The library took up one room of the second floor, and people had to go up a rather treacherous staircase, metal staircase that lined the inside of the wall. The library had a part-time librarian named Pearl Paget, and Pearl earned a whopping $10 a month to keep the library open one day a week, Thursdays from 12 noon to 6 p.m. Customers would come in, they'd go up the treacherous staircase to the second floor to pick out their books, and they would take them back downstairs to the first floor where Mr. Brown's secretary would check the books out for them. Now, elderly patrons or people who had trouble navigating the staircase could have Ms. Paget drop baskets of books down for them from the upper level where they could check them out down below. Now, the opening collection for this library in the jailhouse was 3,000 books that were all used and donated copies, but they also got books delivered by train from the Enoch Pratt Library in Baltimore. And kids used to wait at the train station and help unload the boxes of books as they came from Baltimore. During World War II in 1942, the library closed down due to lack of funding and donations, and stayed closed or just limping along for a few years. But finally, in 1949, again with the help of P.D. Brown, through donations and support, the library was able to open again, this time taking up the entire jailhouse. They moved up in the world. And then in 1950, P.D. Brown got support from the county commissioners and from the state of Maryland for more stable, reliable funding. And the Charles County Public Library proper was established, with P.D. Brown as the first president of the first Board of Trustees for the library. In the early 1950s, a bookmobile was established for the county, and outreach services as well began branching out to serve residents all over Charles County. In fact, a bookmobile driver was hired at 60 cents an hour to help deliver materials all across the county. The library stayed in the jailhouse until 1954, when P.D. Brown was able to persuade county commissioners to devote a room of the new county courthouse for a new library. The next few years brought a lot of transition for the library. In 1955, a book station was established in the old Gerritson's jewelry store at the corner of Route 5 and 925. Then in 1959, with the help of lifelong library supporter J.C. Parks, he and P.D. Brown were able to establish the first public library in the Indian Head area, the Glymont branch. And of course, J.C. Parks eventually had J.C. Parks Elementary School named after him. So P.D. Brown was also instrumental in the building of the new La Plata branch, which opened in 1966 and is open to this day. The 1970s, 80s, and 90s had a lot of transition for both the Indian Head and Waldorf libraries. In 1975, a new library was opened at the Bryans Road Shopping Center, and they had to use the parking lot behind the building for various programming for children's story times and other events, including a blacksmith shoeing a live horse at one of their programs. The Glymont branch eventually closed in 1991 and merged with the Bryans Road Library. Then finally, in November 1996, a new Potomac Branch Library building was opened for the community. Meanwhile, in Waldorf, the Waldorf branch kept moving to different locations because it kept outgrowing its space, until finally in 1981, a new building was opened named after library champion and founder P.D. Brown. When that branch opened in 1981, its 18,000 book collection was stretched to the limit because people were checking out 1,000 books a day and setting circulation records for Charles County libraries. That branch eventually underwent a renovation and expansion in 2001. Then in 2012, our biggest expansion took place with the opening of the Waldorf West branch, which is now celebrating its 10th year anniversary in 2022. And finally, in 2017, the library added a brand new mobile library truck as a branch on wheels to reach the far-flung reaches of the county. And that vehicle was made possible through the fantastic support of the Charles County Board of Commissioners, the library's Board of Trustees, and of course, the citizens for the Charles County Public Library. So as you can see, a lot has changed since the library took up one room of the old jailhouse. We now have 4 branches across Charles County, plus our mobile library vehicle traveling to different parts of Charles County. We have over 100 employees to serve our customers. Our collection has grown to over 200,000 items between the branches, and we have over 75,000 card holders, with that number growing every day.
I'm Jeannie Ping, and I'm the current president of the Citizens for the Charles County Public Library. The biggest change in the libraries I see from when I was a little girl is they're more active. The library is much more user-friendly now. The addition of computers has helped the community so much, and there are many more programs. We had children's programs, story times when I was little, that I would always attend and took my children to. But the library is so much more of a community center now.
I am Kenneth Wayne Thompson, and I serve as Executive Director here at Charles County Public Library. The library has changed in the last 100 years in really positive ways. In April of 2021, Charles County Public Library went fine-free. Also, in October of 2021, we launched the Dolly Parton Imagination Library Program, which is a free gift book program where children ages 0 to 5 are mailed a free book once a month. Among other changes in the library we are really expanding our outreach efforts and our collaborations with other county departments to offer more efficient services for our customers. Some of the other services that have changed throughout the years here at the library is the expansion of more digital services. We've been providing and adding more things to our menu that help customers learn more tech, access to more electronic books, learn how to speak other languages and the like. So our menu for technology has really evolved over the years to meet current needs.
I think the library's success over the past 100 years comes down to the staff and the people who have championed the library, making it possible for people to come to the library, find the resources they're looking for, and connect with the rest of their community. It's the staff that really are the drivers of the services that the community enjoys. And as long as we keep having innovative, interested, and dedicated staff to serve the county, the library will just continue to improve and grow.
I think it is wonderful that the library is celebrating 100 years of service to the community. I congratulate them on 100 years of service. The libraries started off small, and it grew because the community wanted more library services. And I'm very, very proud to be associated with the library, and I think the community is celebrating right along with them.
The library's 100th birthday is more than a milestone. To me, it signifies that no matter what changes in society, there will always be need for a service like Charles County Public Library. We have been here to provide 100 years of public service. We have helped shape and form what the community looks like now, and quite frankly, what the community will look like in the next 100 years. And we'll continue to do our part in making it even better and better as we grow.
I think the fact that the library is celebrating its 100th anniversary is just a testament to what it means to the community and the importance to the people who live here, and not just in Charles County, but across the country. The fact that we have survived 100 years and we continue to thrive and grow means that we're needed by the community. And we're just trying to live up to those expectations and hope that we can deliver the services on into the future that the people of Charles County are looking for.
For your present and our future. Don't litter. Do your part and keep Charles County beautiful.
Applying for jobs with Charles County government is now easier and more efficient. Visit www.charlescountymd.gov for more information.
I'm Larry Abel, president of the Maryland Veterans Museum at Patriot Park. Maryland Veterans Museum is located on Route 301, about 8 miles south of La Plata, and there's a big radio tower right next to us, so you can see us for about 8 miles away. The museum represents the story of America from 1776 to the current period of time, and we have 10 galleries from the Revolutionary War to the Gulf Wars that we're currently involved in. This museum started almost 50 years ago with an African American who was in Vietnam. His name was Donald Wade. And he felt that so many of his friends were dying and being maimed in the war that was there, that there should be a memorial for them at some point. So the seed that he had in his mind at that time did not come to fruition till almost 30 years later, when he was serving on the Board of Education, and he started speaking to the county commissioners at that time to have a memorial of some kind. And at that time, it was thought to be just maybe a monument that would list the names. So slowly, as other veterans became involved and this school site became available, the Veterans Committee at that time requested that it be turned over to them for use as a museum. So that's how that it all started. So here we are, 50 years later, the seed that was planted by that young African-American lieutenant now is a full museum with all kinds of exhibits. And I had the opportunity to talk to him before he passed away, and he said, "I'm so pleased because it far exceeded any expectations that I ever had." When we first opened the museum, we had about 1,000 square feet of space. And as we were able to develop the museum, get more rooms, basically what happened is we started getting a following. And we found that the families of the county wanted people to remember them, and they wanted their artifacts to live on. And many families that had artifacts, they were worried about what to do with them. They couldn't give them to anybody. So slowly, people started giving artifacts to us. So some of the more interesting things that have happened in terms of artifacts, we had one family that had a German machine gun. Her father had brought back from Germany, and also a Luger. And someone had offered her $25,000 for the machine gun and $9,000 for the Luger. And she said, Larry, you know, I could give this to my kids and it would be sold in a week. But if I give it to the museum, it will live on forever. So I want to always be able to come back and see that machine gun, and I want my kids to come back and see it, so it is in better hands with the museum.
Hi, I'm Elaine Lawton, and I'm secretary at the Maryland Veterans Museum, and I also work with the Education Committee. We are in the Revolutionary War Room, and we have a variety of exhibits, from the women's exhibit, Maryland 400. We also have Port Tobacco exhibit. Port Tobacco was a thriving metropolitan area at that time. We also have another exhibit from the Battle of Brooklyn Heights, and this diorama was done by an Eagle Scout. Each of the figures were hand-painted. We have acknowledgement of the 1st Rhode Island Regiment, which shows the troops marching, and they were an African American unit, and they marched from Rhode Island to Yorktown. And we also have just small things that troops would have, like their food, their playing cards. They didn't have any writing on them because they couldn't read. And we also have an encampment exhibit.
I'm Richard Stutz. I'm a retired Chief Master Sergeant from the Air Force. I spent 23 years in the Air Force, and I was in bomb disposal, explosive ordnance disposal. I went to school for that over at Indian Head, Maryland. It used to be the EOD school. And now I am a volunteer at the museum, and I am a board member in charge of building construction and maintenance. Right now we are in the Vietnam room for the Vietnam War, and everything in this room has been donated by people from the Vietnam War, and displays are covering the gamut of the war from all different angles. We have some of the weapons that were used by both the Vietnamese, North Vietnamese, and the South Vietnamese, and also the U.S. forces. We have a big display of that. Here's a mannequin we have that has all the parts of a U.S. Army uniform. This uniform here is actually my uniform that I donated when I stationed in Korat, Thailand. I spent 2 years in Thailand, and this is the actual uniform where I worked in the demolition range, where we were destroying all the excess munitions or unserviceable munitions from the war. We also have a diorama here that was commissioned by the Veterans Administration. We built this for a display in their office building up in Washington, D.C. They took it up there, they had it on display for like 6 months. When they were done with it, they donated it to the museum. We also have a tiger cage that the North Vietnamese used to put captured pilots and POWs in to display that. We have a gentleman over here that lives in White Plains. When he spent a year at Da Nang carrying an M60 machine gun. And on the other side, I've had a gentleman that was in the Air Force. He was a liaison between the U.S. Air Force and the Vietnamese Air Force. He lives in Indian Head, so we try to put some local people, local spin to our display. This room was dedicated to a Navy Master Chief. Her name is Bonnie Kaufman, and she was an air traffic controller in the Navy, had 30 years in the Navy. And this room is dedicated to her, and she unfortunately passed away. She had cancer for over 9 years. She'd been fighting it, and it finally got her. But this room has been dedicated to her memory.
If you would like more information about the Maryland Veterans Museum at Patriot Park, please visit our website and you'll be able to find more information. Also follow our Facebook, join up with our Facebook, and all of our major events are located there. And the other thing, if you want, is to schedule a special event. Please feel free to do so. We are available to give tours to groups, and we'll help you with that.